One does not, as a general rule, seek out suffering. It arrives uninvited, unannounced, and frequently inconvenient. Like a distant relative at Christmas, it appears at precisely the wrong time, rearranges the furniture of one's inner world, and demands to be fed with one's time, attention, and, oh boy, sanity. And yet, rather curiously, it is suffering, not pleasure, not comfort, not even love, that so often holds the key to the self. It is a peculiar truth, most inconvenient, yet without a doubt evident upon even the briefest examination of the human condition. In times of ease, one is not especially compelled to contemplate the nature of existence. When the sun shines and the tea is hot, one is content to drift, half awake, half distracted through the days. But when fortune turns, as it is wont to do, and life becomes rather less agreeable, one is suddenly confronted by a most urgent question. Who am I beneath all this? When the job ends, when the love disappears, when the facade of normality collapses, it is then that one meets the self, not the curated self, the polished version designed for polite society, but the raw, unruly creature underneath, and it is often quite a shock. It is as though one has discovered a stranger living in one's chest, wearing one's face. This is not a tragedy. Indeed, it may be the very beginning of truth. The German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, a man of formidable intellect and even more formidable moustache, once stated, "To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." He was not, as some suppose, a cynic. He was simply paying attention. Suffering is not an aberration. It is a sign that something has gone terribly wrong. It is rather inconveniently part of the arrangement. One does not suffer because one has failed. One suffers because he is alive. And in the midst of that suffering, if one does not merely distract oneself with cake, romance, or an inordinate amount of scrolling, one may discover a kind of clarity, a brutal, bright light under which all falsehoods should dissolve. It is not comfortable, but it is true. Long before Nietzsche, Buddha sat under a tree and came to a similar conclusion, albeit with considerably more composure. His first noble truth: life is suffering, or to be more precise, life contains dukkha, pain, a certain pervasive unsatisfactoriness. Even when things are good, one suspects they could be better. Even in joy, there is a whisper of loss. This is not pessimism, it is precision. One need not flee from this truth, one need only observe it, and in doing so, allow it to strip away the unnecessary, the ego, the delusions, the costumes we wear to avoid being seen. Indeed, in suffering, one becomes visible to oneself. One has, in the throes of despair, often declared, "I shall never recover from this," and yet, with sufficient passage of time and perhaps a biscuit, one finds oneself chuckling at the very same problems. This is the curious story of suffering. In the moment, it feels like the end. In retrospect, it becomes the turning point, or the plot twist, or occasionally a rather good story at dinner. Pain, when fresh, is sacred and terrible. Pain, when aged properly, is rather enlightening. One does not wish it. One certainly does not enjoy it. But one cannot deny its power to remove pretense and reveal the architectures of the soul beneath. Dr. Viktor Frankl, who endured the unspeakable horrors of Auschwitz, offered us one of the great truths of modern thought. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves, he says. This is not some trivial piece of optimism. It is the product of surviving the worst and still choosing meaning. When the world becomes unbearable and control has abandoned you entirely, the only domain that remains is your inner life. And there, if one dares to look, lies a freedom no one can take. Suffering does not always give one a choice, but it always offers one a question. Who shall you become now that everything has fallen apart? And the answer is seldom tidy. It is often said that suffering builds character. This is quite frankly nonsense. Suffering does not build anything. It is not an architect. It is a demolition crew. It takes down the walls, it pulls off the wallpaper, it burns the blueprints. And then in the silence that follows, one sees what was always there underneath. Sometimes it is noble, sometimes it is cowardly, often it is both. But at least it is honest. Pain makes liars of us all at first, but saints, fools, or philosophers in the end. One does not invite suffering to tea, it arrives all the same. And while it may spill things, break things, and insult the decor of your life, it also has a way of pointing at what matters. It does not care for status, reputation, or wealth. It has no regard for your crafted persona. It demands only that you feel, and in feeling, remember that you are alive and flawed and real. Suffering, then, is not the enemy. It is the mirror, the rude, honest, unbearable mirror that shows you the face beneath the mask. And if you are very brave or simply out of options, you might lean in, look closely, and say, "Oh, so that's who I am." Then, with a sigh, perhaps even a smile, you begin again.